Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. Okay, so I didn't get quite as much done this week as I had hoped. Life things got in the way, but we have less than 1,400 stitches left, less than 1% left, so we are getting really close. And I'm hoping I will be on Wednesday's session. That will be the one showing my finishing stitches. That's what I'm aiming for. We'll see if that actually happens. But yeah, you will get to see the final stitches on camera. So yeah, as you can see, I'm mostly vertical at this point because like I've said, that's the way the colors are going and I just kind of follow them. So that's how it worked out. Yeah, I have almost half of the colors completed now. I have 39 out of 81 are done. We may zero out some colors today. We shall see, because yeah, we're getting close to that. So as you can see, I have my very stylish piece of tape on my nail. I slipped while I was chopping onions the other day, and I'm really lucky. It hit my nail and didn't cause any other injury. So it just split my nail. So I tried putting a bandage on it, and I can't stitch with a bandage on my finger because I kept catching the needle through the fibers of the bandage. So that was really irritating. And but I wanted to cover it up somewhat because it's you know, there's a split and I don't want it to catch on anything and pull because that would really hurt. So yeah, I kind of glued it together with some nail glue and then stuck the piece of medical tape on top until it grows out. Yes, I hate when I do that. I don't really care how my nails look. I just don't want them to catch on things when they get broken. That's the part I hate the most because that can be painful. So you can see 4 more of this color, but they're kind of, there's one right at the very, very end. So we will not be zeroing this out today. Next session though, I would say soon. So yeah, I had a couple days where I only got like, there's one day I had less than 100 stitches because there was just too much stuff going on. And then, but then I had yesterday, I got over 700 done. So that was nice. So yeah, I say it's hard to tell people what my daily average is because it can vary so much. Yeah, so my husband's recovering from at work. They had a dodgeball tournament for charity, and I think he said they came 3rd in the league, so that wasn't bad. But boy, was he feeling that, because I said, well, yeah, you haven't played dodgeball since you were what, 8? So yeah, he said, yeah, there's muscles I forgot I had that were hurting there. And he said, oh, he was pretty frustrated because they had, you know, the rules, of course, if you get hit, you're out. But if someone throws the ball and you catch it, then they're out. Kind of like in, you know, baseball or whatever. But anyway, he did that, but he was holding another ball and he dropped it to catch the ball that was coming at him, and they said that that didn't count. So yeah, he wasn't very happy about that. But yeah, it was all for a good cause. It was I think they called it Dodge the Stigma. They were raising money for mental health resources. So yeah, they had 15 teams from the from all around the city competed. So yeah, they said it was a good time. And they had, their goal had been to raise like 200,000. They raised almost 300,000. So yeah, it went really well. Yeah, it's funny because he's an engineer. He said, yeah, when I took this job, you know, I didn't think playing dodgeball was going to be part of it, but yeah. He said, but not to complain. He said, it's a really fun place to work. It's like the best job he's had. So yeah, he's really happy there. Great people to work with. He's hoping to stay there till he retires. But yeah, they have all sorts of fun stuff they do for charity. They had, they did the ice bucket challenge one year, but instead of a bucket, they had a great big backhoe that was full of water and then poured on them. And yeah, my husband said, holy cow, it's colder than you think. You know, you think you're prepared, but you're not. Oh. Yeah, it was funny because they had all of them sort of lined up, and then the water poured down, and his boss was sort of on the end and not really getting it, so he turned around and like walked right into the stream of water. He said, well, I didn't want anybody, you know, claiming I didn't do my part. So, yeah. They had an Easter promotion, and one of their DJs is this huge guy. He's 6'7", so they dressed him up in a pink bunny onesie, running around town, and people had to try to catch him. And then if you did, you got, you know, you got a prize or a chance to be entered to win the prize. Yeah. Fun stuff like that. They had one where they had different locks for storage units. And let me make sure I haven't gone too far down. Nope, that's right where I need to be. Okay. And so you get to do, if you get selected to participate, you get to do certain challenges to win a key, and then you get to see if the key fits the lock, and then you have to hope that storage container holds the prize. And one of the prizes was one of the DJs was in there, and it was for St. Patrick's Day, so he was dressed as a leprechaun. So yeah, it's quite funny. And they've done every year now, goat poop bingo. So they have a big bingo board, and different businesses sponsor a square, and if the goats poop on their square, then they get a prize, right? And yeah, he said it was funny. There was he was helping to wrangle the goats, and one of them climbed up on his boots. Because I guess they like to be higher, right? So they could see. So yeah, he said it was quite funny. Even though it only gave it a couple extra inches clearance. Yeah, it was standing on his boots to look around. Yeah, they had 3 goats, and they said 2 of them were immediately sort of on the squares eating the food. But the one goat was just very curious about everybody and friendly. And so it had a hard time getting it to go onto the bingo board, because it kept trying to look over the fence and interact with the people. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah, the first year it took forever. Took a couple of hours, and they said, you know, they were kind of getting worried that the goats were never going to go, but yeah, then they finally did. So oh my gosh, let's see, try to line these up here. So yeah, it was funny, like the other night after the dodgeball, and after watching TV, I headed up to our bedroom, and he's like, yeah, I'll come join you in a few minutes once I'm able to get up off the couch. Oh, I said, yeah, I know that feeling. I have the same feeling every year when I make I juice all our apples and preserve the juice, because, oh, I had where once I was sitting down on the couch, I didn't feel so bad, and then I had to get up, and I sort of managed to get off the couch, and then I was just sort of standing there hunched over for a couple of minutes because my muscles did not want to cooperate. They were just done. I said every year I kind of have to forget how much work it is and how sore I'm going to be, so that I'm willing to do it again. Yeah, I think the part that makes me the sorest is having to core them all, because the cores, and the seeds are really hard on the juicer. So you have to cut them up, and that constant repetitive motion of pushing the apple core down gets really tiring, especially because I'm short and I kind of have to go up on my toes to really get the height. And yeah, so there's a lot of repetitive motion. Yeah, the problem is the counter is like sort of at just the wrong height for me because I'm short, but if I stand on a stool, then it'll be too low down. I'll be hunching over. That'll cause me pain. So yeah, I kind of can't win. Yeah, I looked into getting an apple press, which is almost like a cheese press. It's like a big stainless steel vat, and you turn a great big sort of corkscrew at the top, and it pushes the lid down and squeezes the juice out that way. I looked into it, and they still want you to core the apples, which is sort of that's the worst part of the process. So it wouldn't, save me from that. And then the ones where you didn't have to were like professional grade, and they wanted like $3,000 for them. And I'm just like, yeah, no, that would be the most expensive apple juice. Like those are really only worth it if you're like, somebody who owns an orchard and it's your business, you're selling it, I just make it for personal use. So yeah, it was funny because every year, if we have any leftover jars, when it comes time to do the that year's harvest, I sent them to my husband's work, and they were a big hit. But anyway, he warned them, I preserve it as concentrate, so water it down because you'll burn a hole in your guts if you don't. And one of the guys is like, oh, I'm no wimp, I'll be fine. Yeah, he drinks it straight out of the jar, and then afterwards he's like, oh man, I should have listened to you guys because ow, it's so acidic. But yeah, I like to preserve it as concentrate because for one thing, it takes less space on my shelf because I can get quite a lot of it. And also because then we can add carbonated water and have sparkling apple juice, which is really nice. Yeah, I got a soda stream machine, so yeah, I don't like straight, just plain carbonated water. It tastes salty to me. It has to be mixed with something, so. Yeah, it's funny. In our house, we call it bitey water because when my son was little, he said it was biting him. So that kind of stuck. Yeah, it's funny the things you come up with in families and they stick. Like one time he found a toy fork that had 3 tines on it, and he said, Mom, it's a threek. And so it stuck ever after that. When we find 3-tined forks, we call them threeks. So yeah, we have about 2.5 columns left here. And each one's 500, so that's why, yeah, it's less than 2.5 actually, because yeah, I did the math when I quit last night and I had exactly 1,400 stitches left, which is funny. I didn't intend to leave it at a round number like that. It just kind of worked out perfectly that it was 1,400 stitches left, so. Okay, I'm gonna do a second short thread there. Yeah, lots of shorter little ones here, but that's just fine. Yeah, most colors are under 100 stitches by now. If I open up my thread list, you can see so many zeros and so many that are just, 5 or 6 colors left. So yeah, the best is when you go through that list and it's all zeros, when it's completely done. when I get to the top of the next column, I'm going to end up with a bunch of zeros soon because there's only a couple more orange flowers there. So then those colors will all be used up. Yeah, fair amount of color changing here, so slows down a little bit, but we will get there. See, this column, I'm kind of cutting it off about right there where the edge of the pillar is. Of course, there's base of the pillar further down, so then it's gonna stop being column style. Yeah, it's funny too, because my husband, when he was preparing for the dodgeball thing, he didn't have any shorts, so he found an old pair of cargo pants that, you know, had busted out knees. He took a steak knife to them, so very stylish. And yeah, he wore his old glasses that day just in case he took a ball to the face, because yeah, that has happened. He said when he was a kid, he got one to the face really hard that he said he felt it sort of like wrap around his head. Yeah. And he said amazingly his glasses, because he's had them since he was a kid, that they didn't break. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because somebody had a picture of a dodgeball and they said, you know, I can smell and hear this picture. I said, yeah, and I can feel this picture smacking me in the face. Yeah, you weren't supposed to throw at people's heads, but I mean, it happened. Plus, I guess when you're short like me, it's more likely to happen. Yeah, I played goalie once and got a soccer ball to the face. That was fun. The guy who kicked it in was so apologetic. Like, just, are you okay? It's like, well, I saw stars, but I'm all right. And again, my glasses didn't break that time, but then one time I got a volleyball to the face, and yeah, they broke. Guy called my name. I turned to look at him, and he just whipped it right at my face, and I didn't have a chance to put my hands up in front of me, and bang, and they cracked. They broke right across the bridge of the nose. The funny thing is they stayed on my face, so I didn't even realize till that night when I went to take them off, and they came off my face in 2 pieces. It was like, oh, that's why I kind of felt something scratching my forehead. That had been the edge of the frame, and I hadn't realized it because I was in like 4th grade. So yeah, my mom was mad, but it was like, well, I didn't throw the ball at my own face, you know? Like, I mean, I get it. It's frustrating. They're not cheap, but I mean, I didn't do it on purpose. And she said, well, you should have been prepared. I said, the guy just called my name and I looked at him. How was I supposed to know? Am I supposed to walk around all day, like with my hands like in front of my face? Like, that's not realistic, you know? Yeah, when my son was younger, we always got 2-for-1 deals for the kids' glasses so that they, he had a spare set just in case something happens, because yeah, kids can be hard on glasses, unfortunately. But he's older and he's in the adult sizes now, and sometimes they have a deal and sometimes they don't, so yeah. Okay, a whole bunch in a row now. And then yeah, cutting it off kind of there. Sort of a natural break in the pattern. This edge of the pillar here. So somewhat crossing as I go, because I want the thread to end up at the bottom and carry on downwards there. Yeah, so my husband's work is having potluck for a Christmas thing, but just for the employees for now. They've done that for, well, they didn't have anything in 2020, and then, yeah, the last couple of years, still trying to be more careful. So, but they've requested my lemon bars. Yeah, everybody loves those. And it's funny, I'm not someone who hoards recipes. I'm totally happy to share my recipes. And I've shared it with people, and I've had so many people like, well, I couldn't get it to set and stuff. And is there anything special you do? And I'm like, well, no, I wrote it all in the directions I gave you. And I said, and I've baked it in multiple different ovens. So it's not like, I don't think it's an oven issue, because I've used 3 different ovens at different times because of, we moved, and never had a problem. So I don't know what people are doing differently. But yeah, they're always a big hit. It was funny because a friend of ours, we had a potluck party, and they were asking, what do you want to bring? And I said, I'll bring my lemon bars. And she said later that she was kind of worried kids wouldn't like them, but no, they were a hit. They were all gone. And I told her, like I said, oh yeah, my kid has been bugging me all morning if he can have some, because I had made the pan of them, but I hadn't cut them up yet. And I was telling him, well, no, we have to save them for the party. You can have some there. Yeah. Yeah, I always say too, I'm especially happy to share my recipe, because usually I didn't invent it. It's one I discovered, because that one I got out of a magazine. So it's not like I could say I own it. Yeah, my dad wouldn't give me his recipe for steamed carrot pudding for Christmas pudding. And so I had to find it online. I was a little miffed. Because I said, that's one problem too, is people don't hand out their recipes. And if they don't, when they pass away, they could be lost. And that's something you want to preserve, right? And hand down to your family. So it'd be a real shame, because yeah, I've had a few friends who said, yeah, their grandmother didn't share the recipes, and now they can't find them after she had passed away, and it was a real shame. Yeah, I'm in the process of been typing up all my favorite recipes and uploading them to my cloud as well, and then that way, if anything happens, I should have a copy. Because yeah, people talk about, what would you save from your house if it was on fire? And I'm like, honestly, my recipe book would be one of the things I would want to save. Because yeah, I've spent years collecting them, and I haven't got them memorized because I'm not good at memorizing stuff. And I'd be devastated if they were lost. Some of them aren't replaceable, Some of them I got from out of print old magazines from 20, 30 years ago. I'm not going to be able to track that down easily. Yeah, my mother-in-law developed a really nice gingerbread recipe. It stays nice and chewy and tender, and oh, it's the best. And because I've tried other kinds, and they end up either very cakey or they end up really hard. Like I had one year in cooking class, we had to make gingerbread houses, and at Christmas, my sister and I tried to eat it, and they were like rocks. Yeah, we basically had to just chip the candies off and eat those, because the actual gingerbread was like, you'd break your teeth if you tried to eat that. So it was stale, and it was not nice at all. And then it was interesting because I shared it with someone, and they said, well, there's no molasses in it. I said, well, no, but a lot of recipes use white sugar and then they add molasses. I'm like, well, molasses is the stuff they take out of brown sugar. So instead, her recipe uses a bunch of brown sugar and no white sugar. And I think that might make the difference, because yeah. And they don't collapse when you make a gingerbread house, but yeah, it stays still tender enough that you can eat it even like by the end of the month. It's great. So yeah. Yeah, there was the one year, I don't know if I told you guys, in 2020, because of course, right, 2020, We tried to make a gingerbread house and miscounted the cups of flour, so there was 1 cup less than there should have been. So the gingerbread did not have the stability it should have. And we tried to make a gingerbread house and it collapsed. And my son just said, well, Mom, we made a gingerbread rubble. Yeah, he was pretty good sport about it. I think I was more disappointed than he was. But yeah, I just said, if that wasn't exactly just fitting for 2020, I don't know what is. Ooh. But we ate it and it was still yummy. But yeah, some people I've seen is just the works of art they do with it is amazing. I saw one people made, they had Star Wars gingerbread. So somebody made like the Death Star and somebody made Millennium Falcon. And some of them were huge. Like some of them stood as tall as the person and they were just incredible. Said it seems a shame to eat them because, yeah, they put so much work into those. Yeah, or I saw a reel today about how they make candy canes. I had no idea how much work went into them. They have the melted sugar and they were putting the different colors in and then rolling it up and they had to stretch it out and pull it, repeatedly, kind of like taffy to get it the right consistency and then cutting it and bending. I was like, gee, I had no idea they had that much work went into them. We think of everything being done by machines, but a lot of that work was being done by hand. Yeah, it's nice and sunny out there, but it is freezing. It's with the wind chill, it feels like minus 34 Celsius. So yeah, yuck. I am very glad I don't have to go anywhere today. Well, I will when I pick up my kiddo from school, but other than that, yeah. Oh, look at that. These are the last 3 stitches of this color. We'll see if we actually get them done this session, but I mean, I will be getting them done soon. That means. I guess I like to do a lot of things that are not difficult, just labor intensive, like the cross stitching, obviously, and I make my own jam too. And juice, even though, I mean, you can buy those at the store, but there's something about having homemade. Yeah, actually, my mother-in-law taught me how to make jam. Because she likes to make it too. Okay, whoops. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to use a separate thread for this. Oh, I see. And there's one part there. We'll see how long it is. Okay. All right. Probably be adding another thread lower down for that too. Now, especially at the end, I have so many pieces to use up, I often end up using them up here. That's fine. Okay, so these 4. Yeah, and then my next project, you guys will get to see it from the first stitch to the last stitch. Not every single stitch in between, but you'll get to see those milestones. Let's see if you can get you to, yep, without tangling. Excellent. This project I was partway through when I started this channel, so I didn't get to see the beginning, but you will get to see the end. It kind of all started, people were talking about their different methods, and I tried to explain mine in words and pictures, and it just was too tough. So I thought, you know what, I'll make a video, and yeah, that's how this all began. Okay, let's see. I think, yeah, I'm gonna get a small little piece for that. One there, I think I have, yeah, perfect. Nice short one for just that. Instead of crossing that thread that's already parked back and forth and jumping all around. Yeah, I think same thing here. Find a little thread. Just do that. Lone stitch. They could get kind of really curly by the end from having been pulled through the fabric so many times. Okay, and then I'll do the other one that's kind of by itself there as well. the same thread. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if I'll get this one mounted and hung up by the end of the year, but we'll get all the stitching done at least. Although I do plan to buy the supplies as my Christmas gift to myself this year. I'll have to renew my fabric store membership because it expired. Yeah, I don't generally sew very much, but the supplies for when I mount it are enough that getting the membership to get the discount is worth it. Because the membership's like 25 bucks. And so I usually save that much with the membership, so I at least break even, and then that way, if I end up needing to buy more supplies later in the year, then bonus, I end up with still having the discount. So yeah, because they give you like 30 to 50% off the fabric when you have the membership, so it adds up pretty quickly. Yeah, I already have a spot on my wall picked out. It's going to be right on the wall, sort of right across from the front door. So when you come in the front door, you'll see it right away. But since the glass in our front door is frosted, so I won't have to worry about the sunlight potentially fading the colors. Although I've had someone say that the embroidery floss was pretty good for not fading, because he said, one guy said his wife She got a bunch and she left it at home, and she left the curtains open when they went on vacation and forgot about it. And she was so worried that the sun would have faded it by the time they got back, because they went on like a fairly extended holiday, like 3 weeks. But no, they said when it came back, it was still just the same. So yeah, they must do really well for the color fastness. Although I'm not going to tempt fate and hang it in direct sunlight, just in case. It would be a real shame after doing that much work. Yeah, if it were to get faded. Yeah, I remember actually doing that as an art project when we were kids. They had us get construction paper and put shapes on it, and then leave it in the sun for a few days, in direct sun, and then yeah, it would bleach the paper wherever it wasn't covered by an object, so it would leave the silhouettes behind, which was kind of cool. Yeah, it was kind of fun putting the tree up, and we've got ornaments that our son has made through the years. I said I was so sad when I was a kid. During one of our moves, I think my grandpa threw out the box because he didn't realize what it was, because it was all the handmade decorations, and I think it looked like junk to him, right? It was just like bits of styrofoam and colored paper, and yeah, I was pretty heartbroken because, you know, you can't replace that. And I still remember there was this ornament I made in elementary school. It was like a circle, hollow circle, like a wreath shape of cardboard with stuff, and I remember it had cotton balls glued to it to look like snow, and there were some pictures of it in, you know, in pictures of Christmas trees from years past, but yeah, it got thrown away, and it's like, yeah, you can't really replace that, right? I mean, you could make it again, but it's not the same as making it when you were 5, right? So yeah, I was pretty heartbroken about that. Yeah, we have one from when he was in preschool and such, so yeah, I always enjoy putting those on. Those are the most special, right? Yeah. The stuff made with love has no monetary value, but it has sentimental value. Yeah, less than 39 stitches of this color, because yeah, this was one of the most used colors in this pattern. There was like 5,000 stitches of this color, I think, to begin with, so so I don't know, will I reach the bottom of this column by the end of today or not? I'm eager to finish, but it's not a race. Yeah, it's funny. Took the piggy out of her cage yesterday to clean it, and she likes to wander around the living room. She wandered over under the Christmas tree, and then she didn't want to leave it even when I was done cleaning her cage. I tried to pick her up, and I was like, nope, she's running around under there. Yeah. When she was younger and much faster, I would have to put her in a bin or something. Otherwise, catching her was impossible, practically. So, but yeah, now that she's older, you can catch her pretty easily. And also, she doesn't like to walk on hardwood or linoleum. It's too cold on her feet. So, yeah, she'll stay on the Christmas tree skirt or on the rug, the living room rug. So, in fact, sometimes I used to put her in her little, she had a little like cloth nest, we called it. And if I sat it in the middle of the lino, she would stay there because she didn't want to touch the cold floor with her feet. So we'd say she was on her island. Yeah, one time my husband took her out and he went to put her on the floor to see if she'd want to. And she was on his arm and she sort of looked down at the lino floor and then was just like, nope, I'm staying here. Your arm's warm. I mean, I can hardly blame her. I don't like walking barefoot on a cold floor either. So, even with slippers, my feet get so cold. Yeah, I don't have the best circulation, unfortunately. That was one nice thing when I was pregnant because of the increased circulation. My hands and feet were always warm. And it lasted for a whole year postpartum. So I kind of thought, oh, is this permanent? That'd be great. But yeah, unfortunately not. It went back to normal again. Yeah, there's other people complain about being too hot during pregnancy, but I'm always cold. So for me, it was perfect. And kiddo was born in March. So the time when you're the hottest was right over the winter. So, I mean, it worked out perfectly. I was nice and warm for that whole winter. Yeah, still a fair amount of this color, as you can see. It's in fairly big blocks, so it shouldn't take too long to stitch, I would imagine. I think I'll make myself a hot lunch today since it's such a cold day. I got some dumplings in my freezer, so maybe I'll cook those. I have a bamboo steamer, so. Okay. Oh, I like to stop on round numbers, so if I do these two, I'll be on 180. So I think that is where I will quit. So yeah, I should say my next issue with me session should be this project being completed is what I estimate. Don't hold me to it though, because I can't guarantee it. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.